Thanks for joining us from the Ohio AgNet Voice You Know with the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF, where the performance of Valtima fungicide can take your best results even farther. Well, these comments are from Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, publishing an opinion piece in Newsweek on how the One Big Beautiful Bill will empower farmers and ranchers. It was written on June 30th. Here's her comments. Over the next decade, the One Big Beautiful Bill increases the farmer safety net, crop insurance, and trade programs. These changes to farm support will allow USDA to return to our core mission of putting farmers first and restoring rural prosperity across the country. At USDA, we are working every day on behalf of our farmers and ranchers to ensure President Trump's America First agenda unleashes prosperity for generations to come, said Secretary Rollins. Our nation's farmers and ranchers are ready to put America first. Over 97% of our agricultural counties voted for President Donald Trump last November, and he will never forget their commitment to his agenda. Now is the time to put that agenda in effect. The One Big Beautiful Bill unleashes economic growth and restores fiscal sanity. With the largest tax cut for middle and working class Americans in history, and increased child tax credit, new Trump savings account for newborns, historic tax relief for seniors, and no tax on tips and overtime, every American wins with the OBBB. And this bill will serve no one more than our nation's farm families. The One Big Beautiful Bill cuts taxes for farmers by over $10 billion and prevents the death tax from hitting 2 million family-owned farms that would otherwise see their exemptions cut in half, along with bolstering the farm safety net for producers to protect against significant economic losses, which has not been updated since 2014. The One Big Beautiful Bill also makes risk management tools more affordable at a time of significant risk because of the previous administration's neglect of our rural communities. The One Big Beautiful Bill also realigns the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program to President Trump's mission of cutting waste, fraud, and abuse across the federal bureaucracy. On any given day, USDA spends nearly $265 million on SNAP benefits alone, not including the 15 other nutrition programs at the department. In 2023, over $11 billion in erroneous SNAP benefits were issued, and the bill is centered on increased accountability on both the individual recipient and the state administering the program. Today's weather brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Here's the forecast.
Hot and humid here as we finish out the week. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin. Quick forecast update for you here in Ohio. The nearby forecast is unchanged. We've been talking about this. Humidity really on the rise as dew points climb up into the lower and middle 70s. It's going to be quite uncomfortable, not just today, but through tomorrow and into Sunday as well. We do have a frontal boundary on the move. I think that frontal boundary may try and throw a few scattered showers or thunderstorms into northwest Ohio closer to sunset on Sunday. But the rest of the state likely does not see an impact from this until through the day on Monday. At this point, you can pencil in 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch of rain from that front, coverage around 60 to 70% of the Buckeye State. Behind it, we go drier for next Tuesday and Wednesday. Have a few hit-and-miss scattered showers trying to pop up late Wednesday night into early Thursday, but the rest of next week is dry, muggy, but dry. Pattern shift may be on the way, though, for the following week. The week of the 14th starts with pop-up scattered showers and thunderstorms Monday, Tuesday, but we are seeing a big upper-level ridge drying things out considerably over the central and western part of the United States, and that may try and expand in towards us closer to the 16th and 17th. We'll just keep our eyes on that, not calling for a major drought or dry down just yet, but pattern changes could be in the works. I'm Chief Meteorologist Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Joining me is Will Griffin, and he's the row crop segment manager for Valent USA. And Will, I understand you just did some traveling. Could you give me an update? What does the soybean condition of the crop look like where you've been traveling?
It's variable. I live in Mississippi, and I just drove up to Seymour, Illinois. Wide cross-section of the soybean growing area. Variable is probably the best way to say it. The further north you go, the better the crops look. I was amazed at the crop stages as we got into Illinois. We came across through parts of Tennessee and Missouri, and all in all, the soybean crop is in pretty good shape.
Well, Will, as you approach this then, as a row crop segment manager for Valent, how will Valent look at this situation and decide how do we help producers?
Our approach traditionally has been really focusing on overlapping residuals, making sure you get a pre-emergent down. The overlapping residual component of it is Perpetuo from our perspective. It's a great post-emerge product. It's really good in all soybean systems, whether it's Enlist or Extend or whatever the system is. And it goes really well with most other chemistries. So you can come in with Perpetuo, increase your activity on post-emerge weeds that are up, and then it's got some pyroxysulfone in it, so you get some residual in there as well. So we can come in early with our Fierce brands or Valerie Z, get that foundation established to start clean, and then you come in with that overlapping residual, and you're able to stay clean throughout the season. Reduces your weed pressure going into the next year, but it also gives you a really good, clean crop to harvest.
Well, what's the website we can gather more information? Because you listed quite a number of products there pretty quickly.
You can go to Valent.com.
And thank you, Will Griffin, Valent USA. Making hay while the sun shines. How many times have you heard that throughout the years? We've had some sunshine this spring and summer, but making first cutting dry hay has really been challenging for most farmers this year. Getting 2 or more days in a row without rain has been rare in the spring of 2025. These are the comments of Garth Ruff, beef cattle and livestock marketing field specialist for OSU Extension, and you can get more on this story at ohioagnet.com. In response to these challenges, OSU Extension is offering a forage testing program with the goal of providing timely education regarding forage quality and winter supplementation, and if enough samples are submitted, creating an Barnes County hay quality summary. Reach out to your local extension office to confirm that they are participating in the testing program and the availability of a forage sampling probe. To participate, you may submit dry hay or baleage samples to your local OSU Extension office by July 31st, 2025, obviously, along with a hay sample submission form for each sample, and include this completed program summary sheet with your payment. The first payment analysis is $15, with subsequent samples costing $20. Near infrared analysis, or NIR, will be completed. In return, producers will receive values for dry matter content, total digestible nutrients, crude protein, ADF, NDF, ash, fat, C, P, and K for each sample submitted. Again, more on this story at ohioagnet.com, or see your local OSU Extension office to see if they're participating in this program. Back with more after this.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
Think biodiesel is just another fuel? Think again. Biodiesel is Ohio innovation on the move. Clean, green, and built to keep diesel engines running strong. It's an engine booster, a soybean supporter, and an environmental champion all in one. Every gallon reduces emissions, strengthens Ohio farms, and powers your ride. Drive with purpose. Choose biodiesel. Learn how at soyohio.org. The United States is the world's largest producer and exporter of corn, and corn farmers are bolstering the U.S. economy and building strong communities, according to a new study released by the National Corn Growers Association, or NCGA. Corn grower leaders say they could make an even bigger contribution to the U.S. economy through increased sales of ethanol and the cultivation of new foreign markets. The study, entitled The Economic Value of Corn Farming in the United States for 2024, noted the contribution of corn farming and its upstream linkages extended across 506 different industry sectors in all 50 states, generating an estimated $123 billion in total economic output in 2024. The report also shows that corn farming supported over 440,000 jobs and provided $29 billion in wages, strengthening communities in rural America and across the entire nation. These findings show that the corn industry is an essential contributor to the nation's agriculture and economic value chain, said NCGA Chief Economist Krista Swanson. The study demonstrates the positive ripple effect of corn production, vital to a healthy U.S. economy. NCGA said that given the chance, corn growers could contribute even more to the U.S. economy. Today's market analysis is brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company. Excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky, Ohio. For marketing information on your beans to LDC, call 574-566-2113. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished the Thursday session mixed. Corn was up 2 to 4, beans up 1 to 5, almost 6. However, the contract with the biggest move was the July contract, which we are in the delivery period now. Most folks are shifted either to the August or even to the November as to be paying attention to. Wheat markets were lower. Chicago down 4 to 8, Kansas City down 5 to 7, and Minneapolis wheat was down as well. So definitely an interesting day overall, made more interesting by the passage of the big, beautiful bill in Congress right after the market close on Thursday. Why are we referencing that here? Well, look, the big, beautiful bill had multiple 45Z provisions in it that are supposedly fairly friendly to soybean oil and biofuels production. Now, bean oil markets tried to front run this week with some very big moves to the upside, especially when the bill passed out of the Senate. But on Thursday, bean oil actually settled back a little bit. I think it might have been some profit taking going into a long 3-day holiday weekend. Remember, the markets are closed in observance of the Independence Day holiday. Will open back up for normal trade as we move through the Sunday night time frame and a normal day trade session on Monday. So I guess what I'm hinting at here is there are some in the industry that think the Monday trading session can be a little bit interesting, a little bit, I think the word that I heard used was fun. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to be priced into this or not. But still, those are going to be the talking points. Weekly export sales report was not much of a talking point on Thursday. We just did not see any significant new markets being emerged. However, President Trump was lining up with several patriotic announcements over the weekend as well, commenting on the big, beautiful bill that he wants to sign on Independence Day itself. So multiple things can shape the market on Monday. Stay tuned, but enjoy the holiday weekend. I'm Ryan Martin.
And thanks, Ryan. Today's market's brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Now, again, these are Thursday's closing figures as the markets are closed today. And as Ryan Martin mentioned, we'll see the new activity on Sunday night. In the meantime, Thursday's close had July corn up 2 1/4 at 431 1/2. December 437 up 3 1/2, and March was up 4 at 452 3/4. The July beans up 5 3/4 at 10.56 1/4 cent. November 10.49 1/4 up 1 1/4, and January up 1 3/4 at 10.64 1/2. Wheat took it on the chin. July down 8 1/4 at 5.47 3/4. September 5.56 3/4, down 7 1/4. And if you kept it till December, it's down 5 3/4, but at $5.78 1/4 cent. In livestock, August cattle up $1.60 at $214.05. October, $210.90, up $1.20. And December up $1.12 at $211.25. July lean hogs down $1.67 at $107.97. August, $106.10, down $1.80 on the day. And October was down 90 cents at $92.10. And just a reminder, on Tuesday next week, we'll be visiting with the folks at Ohio Corn and Wheat, and with all the activity in Washington, that ought to be a great day. Thanks for joining us. This is the Ohio AgNet.